Hello. Thought I would just do a little chatty video. It's a rainy day here. It's a little, I guess it's not too dark. And yeah, supposed to get coffee with one of my friends. And I don't think he's feeling up to it today. So I'm gonna do other stuff instead. And then I felt inspired to do a chatty video. So I was just thinking about different things. I was journaling. And I was thinking about how maybe it's just me, but like when you go out to eat with someone, for instance, that you don't normally do that with, and how it can be kind of awkward. And sometimes I feel like a pressure to keep the conversation going or to keep chatting if the other person isn't chatting. And I think I do it because I don't want them to feel uncomfortable. But then really, if you think about it, it's like I feel like I'm catering to that, or like trying to cater to that person so they don't feel uncomfortable, because the idea of them being uncomfortable makes me feel uncomfortable. So really, is it more of like a selfish act, or is it a little bit of both? It could be both. Because I think about it, and I think there is altruism in general, and like I enjoy being kind to people. It's just like a natural thing for me. But then if you think about, like, if you're someone that's empathic and you can feel other people and their energy, if they're uncomfortable, like, then you feel uncomfortable. So I think there can be a bit of both, of like an altruistic wanting people to feel comfortable, wanting to be helpful, and then also this feeling of like, oh, they're uncomfortable, I'm feeling uncomfortable, I don't want to feel uncomfortable, so if I make them feel comfortable, then I won't feel uncomfortable anymore. It's really interesting. I had that brought to my attention quite a while ago, but I was thinking about the food thing, and yeah, it's interesting. So that obviously happened to me, maybe not so obvious, but this happened to me recently. So it's funny, got me thinking about it. And so one thing I wrote down in my notebook is that I have this notebook where it writes down what you can, like, what you learn that day or what have you. So I wrote down that I don't want to basically keep conversation going, like not feeling the need to do that, like not doing it because I feel like I should, but because it flows naturally. So I think it comes too from like when you're someone that's more quiet and more of a thinker, and you don't, like, I don't like to express things needlessly, I guess I would say. And my inner world is very robust. It's like very colorful. There's a lot going on in there, and I don't always express it. And I feel a lot as well. So I think when you're like that, and maybe it's just something that happens in more extroverted countries, but it doesn't really happen to me anymore. But in the past, I get a lot of comments like, oh, you're really quiet. And then I think there's then this pressure of being like, of talking. But ironically, when someone says that to me, and I think probably to a lot of people like that, it doesn't make me want to talk. It makes me like not want to talk to the person at all. Then when they say that, so it probably stems from that as well. But I think what's nice about being more of a listener too is you just like pick up on a lot of things, and you learn a lot of things, I guess I would say, from secondhand experience. So like I can be sitting down eating at a restaurant, but I'm listening to everything that's happening around me, especially if I'm eating alone, which I did recently. But or if I'm with someone that I can be comfortable around, like quiet around, I can just like pay attention to what's around me, or if I'm in a coffee shop and I'm reading or journaling, I'm just like listening to everything and hearing like all these conversations. So it's a cool way to learn things and pick up on stuff. But I have been listening to this really old, I think it's from maybe the 90s, I don't know, this Tony Robbins CD I got from the library. I was looking up another book to take out from the library, and that one came up in the search online. So I was like, oh, I'll just take it out, whatever, the CD, and I've been listening to it. And one of the things he talks about, which I really like and I've heard before, is just like when you get anxious about something, realizing that it's a label that you're putting on it, and it could very well be excitement, and how two people can label the same experience as something different. So like one person could feel something and be like, oh, I'm feeling anxious, like this is anxiety. And then someone else can feel it and be like, oh, this is excitement, like this is how I feel when I get excited. And so I was thinking that because the other day I was craving this Korean restaurant big time that's about an hour away from me. It's like 50 minutes. And I really, like, there are times when I don't mind doing things alone, and then there are times when I really just want someone to go with me. So I have like two main people that I do stuff with, so when they're not free, I feel like I have no one. So that day, my two main people were not free, and I really wanted to go, and then I also asked a cousin of mine too, and she couldn't go. But so I decided to go alone, and it's really funny because I've done so many things on my own. I've gone to different states, and I went to a different country by myself too. And I think it's one of those things where the more you do something, you get comfortable with it. I've gone to concerts on my own, and I've gone out to eat on my own. But I think since 2020 and not doing that as much, like obviously just staying in for so long, I haven't done that as much. Even like going to cafes by myself, I still love doing that and just journaling. And I found, when I've tried doing that again, it's a little more anxiety inducing than it used to be. And I think it's just one of those things, like even though I've done it so much and it's been perfectly comfortable and fine for me, because I haven't done it in a while, it's almost like a new thing again. So I ended up going by myself because I really wanted to go, and I was just like, I want to go, even though I was feeling anxious about it. I was feeling anxious about driving that far. I don't know why, but I used to love driving in the thruway, and I don't enjoy it as much anymore. So I was like anxious about that, and I was anxious about eating at the restaurant alone, and I was like, should I eat alone in there, or should I take it to go and like eat it in my car? But as I was driving on the highway, I was like, I can choose to label this as excitement, because I was excited about it too. And it's just a very silly thing. And I'm just like, where I think, like, for instance, in eating somewhere by yourself, I don't know what the anxiety is from. I'm guessing it's, I think there's this feeling of, at least for me, of I don't want someone to know I'm anxious. I don't want someone to know I'm feeling anxious. I don't want them to like feel sorry for me. I think that tends to happen. One time I got breakfast by myself years ago, and just like I loved it. I was having a good time. I wrote my book and I was enjoying it, but I could tell the waitress felt sorry for me. I could just tell, like, she's being like extra motherly to me and like trying to cater to me. But yeah, unnecessary to do that. I appreciate it. But yeah, I think I just like, it's judgment, which is silly, but I don't know why that is. It's funny how you can feel like there's like a part of you that doesn't care what people think, but I think innately we all do, because I think everyone wants to feel accepted and loved and all the good things. So I guess that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. So I haven't watched it in a number of days, but I've been watching Sailor Moon, which I never watched when I was a kid. But I don't know why I even had the craving to watch it. I just had this urge to start watching it. And I saw that there's Sailor Moon Crystal on Netflix, which is apparently like a remake of the old one. So I recently bought this pen. I'm like waving it around as I'm talking. It made me think of Sailor Moon. It's just like very flashy and girly seeming. But so I've really been enjoying that. I'm on season 3 now, and I'll probably watch like the original show after the fact. But I've been enjoying that. It's super fun. And I discovered my new favorite thing to make at home, which is a cafe mocha. My mom's boyfriend recently worked on my car because something was broken on it, and I got some stuff for him at the store as a thank you. And one of the things I got was this dark chocolate Starbucks thing. It's like double chocolate packet, and I kept some too. And it's so on the back of it, it had a recipe to make a cafe mocha. I never would have thought of that, but I have an espresso machine, so like, so I think it's been 2 days, like 2.5 days since I've been having this drink, and it's like my new favorite thing. Just making the hot cocoa and throwing an espresso pod in there. It's amazing. It's so great. So I had it the night I gave him the stuff, and then the following morning, and I had it. Or was it yesterday morning? Yeah, yesterday morning, and then I had it. I'm having it now, and it's just amazing. So I highly recommend that. Super easy and delicious. But yeah, I just felt like sharing those things. I feel like there's a lot I could share. I, so, I don't know if it's Scorpio season. So apparently during Scorpio season, so Scorpios are known for having like a lot of depth, right? And that's my sun sign. But I don't know if this is why I've been thinking a lot about death lately. And I try usually not to think about death, even though it's very natural. It's something we all will experience. So sorry if this is like depressing and heavy. But I think sometimes I could just cry right now. I won't. Don't cry. I've been feeling very emotional lately. But the other day, like sometimes I'll just think about how my my parents are still alive, and so many of my loved ones. I'm literally gonna cry. Don't cry. I know it's fine to cry, but I just don't want to cry on camera. I have no problem crying like on my own and or in front of people. I've gotten used to that, but whatever. Anyway, so just thinking, if I think lately about my loved ones passing away. The other day I was hanging out, or the other night I was hanging out with my boyfriend, and I just had this thought of like, oh, it'd be cool to just like have a week where you just like hang out all the time. And then, because we were hanging out and he was gonna leave soon. And then it just hit me like, he's gonna die one day and he won't be on this earth anymore. And then, I'll be on this earth without him in it. And I've had that thought about other loved ones too. And I don't know why it's just such a sad thing to me, even though it's not, because I have the belief that, we're these souls and we're these eternal beings that live on, but we're in this physical experience. So I mentally can know things or feel things in my heart that will always be connected to the ones we love, even when they pass on or we pass on. I liked my hand. Yeah, I've just been thinking about that lately, and I don't know if it's the Scorpio season, plunging me into those thoughts, or if it's just, just what's happening right now in my mind and experience. But I do find this time of year to be pretty reflective in general, and it's the fall season here where I am, and all the leaves are falling, and we've had really nice weather here actually. It's been in the 70s, which is kind of crazy for November, but things are cooling down and slowing down, and especially the wintertime I find to be really reflective and relaxing, and it's the time you tend to, I feel like is a good time to be reflective and to go deep into yourself and just to really think about all the things and just ponder away. Yeah, I was thinking too, it's so interesting how connected we are to nature. I'm just like staring at my window as I'm talking, by the way. Sorry if I'm not like focus on the camera. I tend to look around when I talk and think. But yeah, it's funny how connected we are to nature. So, two thoughts. So this time of year is reflective, and it kind of forces one to go within, whether or not you allow that or not. Maybe people don't want to go inward. But I wonder too, so where I live, we have all the seasons, like fall, winter, summer, or spring, summer. And I wonder for those who live in an area that's just basically warm all the time or just one season all the time, I wonder still if they feel those shifts in nature of the seasons. So like, yeah, like come winter, even if it's warm where they are, do they still feel that need internally to go within, or does that just not happen because they're not in a climate like that? I don't know. I just find that really interesting. I was thinking about that recently. So this cushion in my chair, it gets pushed out all the time. And this is what I do to fix it. I that's my trick. I thought you guys might like that. And I guess the last thing I'll share that's super random, I'll try to keep it like short-winded, is about 5 years ago, I was kayaking with a friend of mine at a local lake. And summertime, it's beautiful. I'm wearing a skirt, which is basically, it looks like a skirt, but they're shorts and they had pockets. So I wanted to bring my cell phone with me, and I don't know if I had my car keys too in maybe my other pocket. But anyway, so I had my cell phone and I had my debit card in my pocket, and I had it in a little Ziploc bag. So I had it in my skirt pocket, and we're kayaking, and then we get back to shore from kayaking after a while, and my phone was gone. So it clearly fell out of my pocket, and I lost it, and it was so sad because I had so many pictures on that phone, especially of travels, because I recently had traveled, and it was a huge lesson for me to back up my photos because I lost them, and I was so sad. But so last weekend, long story short, these girls came to my house. They seem to be teenagers. This SUV pulls in I've never seen, and these girls get out. I'm like, what the heck? And my mom answered the door, and then she called my name, and I went out there, and they were for me, and they found my phone. I actually have it right here. And it actually, it could look worse. Ooh, it actually looks sick. Like in a portal. Yeah. It's, dude, it's so rusted. It's crazy. But, so they brought me my phone. I didn't ask a lot of questions because I was just really shocked. But from what I gathered, it was still in the bag, and they just saw this bag floating in the water, and they found me based on my debit card, because my debit card was in the bag and I had my name on it. And so the one girl gave me my phone and my debit card, which was funny because it expired this year. Was it this year? I have to look at it right here. It expired in March of this year, so that's funny. And she handed me the SD card and my phone. And she said how they found my phone and they thought I want my pictures back. I'm really curious if they looked at the pictures or not. Doesn't matter if they did or not to me, but I'm just curious. So they gave that stuff to me, and I just thought it was the coolest, sweetest thing. It made my evening and probably like whole year in life because it was just really cool. I love that they just like, I like to imagine it as like a Scooby-Doo adventure or something where they just were like, we gotta crack this case of who owns this phone and we gotta get it back to this girl. But I just thought that's so cool. They said they lived like 15 minutes away from me. And it was just really neat. I asked if I could hug them. And they were open to that. So I hugged them. My mom was super touched by it because she just stood there and like watched the whole interaction. And so she offered them some money and they didn't want to take it, but then they did. So that was cool. And yeah, so it was just a really cool experience. So that was really neat because I fully believe in magic and miracles. And so just to like experience one is really cool. Because to me, that is like, what are the odds of that happening? What are the odds of them finding the phone in general, but of them wanting to find me and giving it to me and not expecting anything from it? And like, I never expected this to happen. And I tried looking at the SD card various ways, and then I asked my boyfriend if I could use his phone to look at it. And it said I had like 1,500 pictures on there. I didn't look through them all on his phone. I just like want to see if they were on there. And so I ordered an adapter I have an iPhone and a MacBook, so I ordered an adapter on Amazon. I got in the mail. It does not work. So I ordered another one. So I'm so excited to just look through all the pictures and see what's on there, because I was like, oh, maybe there's something on there I'm meant to see. But also maybe I was just meant to experience that and just see that like miracles happen and that they're awesome people that want to do things like that. And it was cool because it made my day and like they looked so happy. So I feel like it made theirs as well. And I guess the last thing I'll say is the idea, it makes me think of this too, where like angels can work through us, or like we can be an angel on earth for other people. And I first learned about that idea consciously anyway from the book, what is it called? The Valkyries by Paulo Coelho. Coelho. Just the idea that those times when you just feel a random urge to do something and you act on it, and then unknowingly you can be an angel for someone else. Like maybe you're at the exact place at the exact time you needed to be to help someone with something, and it could be something so small. Or maybe you're just in the store and you smile at someone and that was like the day that they just like couldn't take life anymore or something, and it just like shifted everything for them. You never know. So the made me think of that too, just like maybe like they're kind of like angels in a way for me. And I don't know, it was just really neat. So I guess I'll leave you with that. Thanks for joining me for a moment of your day. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you listening. And yeah, feel free to share anything you want in the comments. If anything comes to mind to share or say, feel free to do so. I really appreciate you being here. And I hope you have the best day ever. I'm gonna enjoy this rainy day. It's like one of my favorite types of weather to just chill to. So if you enjoy rain, sending you the rainy vibes, but not like the sad rainy vibes, but just the cozy, fun reading books to, journaling to, watching movies, playing video games, whatever you do. So enjoy the day, and thanks.